welcome to Dice Jesters. My name is Julie.
And my name is Dave.
And today Dave will be teaching me about Dominion.
Yeah, I'm really excited to show this one to you because I know you grew up playing a little bit of like Yu-Gi-Oh! And some card games, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Love Yu-Gi-Oh!
This is a game that drew me in early in the hobby. It wasn't the first game that got me in, that was Settlers of Catan, but Dominion was like second or third. And I remember at the time, this is like back in 2013, I kept hearing about this game Dominion when I started looking up board game reviews online and figuring out what kinds of other games were out there. And it was a little bit intimidating to me at first. I don't want to scare you away, but
okay.
So I was never into like Magic the Gathering or any trading card games like that. And it kind of looks similar to that, has a similar vibe like the cards do. But the game is a lot different than that. Even though I still haven't played, I know what those games are like. Mm-hmm. And it really blew my mind in terms of what a card game can do. Because I'd grown up playing traditional card games with a standard deck of cards. And I was like, whoa, like cards can do this in a game. And it made me reimagine what board games can possibly do. Mm-hmm. It's a fast-moving game. You can play turns really fast, and you can do a lot. And there's all kinds of really cool combinations in the box. So that's why I'm really excited to show it to you, because I feel like it's one that I hope that you'll enjoy.
Okay, yeah, of course. If you want to pass me the box so I can take a look at it.
Yeah.
Since you have someone to play with now.
Yeah.
Are you more willing to play Magic the Gathering?
Yeah, I'm really willing to play anything.
Okay. Box came out really weird. All right. Let's see. Okay. So just first off, like first overall view of the setup. I really like that each card automatically has its home. I think that's really cool. And then it looks like it's in alphabetical order. Kind of. It's kind of an alphabetical order. M, it says like money lender, but then it says silver. Which is odd. Because then the next row is poacher. I don't know why the silver was randomly laid in there. So that's a little weird, but I still appreciate that it's really organized just because it helps set up the game faster.
Yeah.
You don't have to look through and organize the cards. Based off the cards, though.
Yeah, if you had to guess what we do in this game,
yes.
What would you say?
I'm just laughing because I already know how you're going to respond to what I'm going to say.
Don't say
it. It looks like a card version of Monopoly.
Monopoly? How so?
How so? Okay. So, you have these copper coins. Sorry, not these copper coins. These copper cards. You have the silver cards. And then you have these gold cards, right?
Yeah.
That's like the money in Monopoly.
Okay.
Then you have the estate, the province, the gardens, and the duchy.
Yeah.
That's like the hotels and houses in Monopoly.
Okay, you're kind of blowing my mind right now because I would have never equated this to Monopoly. But think about it, the name Dominion, Monopoly, they're kind of the same word, aren't
it's like
they?
The Renaissance.
Yes, the
And then like the mine, the market, the library, it sounds like you're setting up a town. It sounds like a version of Monopoly where you're setting up a town.
What? Is my whole life a lie?
Yes. No. But that's how it looks to me. So am I close?
Yeah. I mean, actually, surprisingly, you kind of are in the sense that money is part of the game. And the goal of the game is to build the best deck possible by adding things into your deck. So like in Monopoly, you'd be adding hotels and property and stuff. You're kind of doing the same thing here. You're hiring different people to come into your dominion. You're trying to get estates and duchies and provinces to make your dominion the best it possibly can be. But why don't I give you a little bit of backstory about what we're actually doing in the game from a thematic perspective? I know in the last game, you were disappointed that I didn't give you that up front. So I thought I'd read you this little...
Does it tell you how you start in this one?
How you start?
Yeah. Does it say whoever was a jester?
Oh, I'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
So it says, you are a monarch. Like your parents before you, a ruler of a small, pleasant kingdom of rivers and evergreens. Unlike your parents, however, you have hopes and dreams. You want a bigger and more pleasant kingdom with more rivers and a wider variety of trees. You want a dominion. In all directions lie fiefs, freeholds, and feudums. All are small bits of land controlled by petty lords and verging on anarchy. You will bring civilization to these people, uniting them under your banner. But wait, it must be something in the air. Several other monarchs have had the exact same idea. You must race to get as much of the unclaimed land as possible, fending them off along the way. To do this, you will hire minions, construct buildings, spruce up your castle, and fill your treasury. Your parents wouldn't be proud, but your grandparents on your mother's side would be delighted. That's really weird.
It's very specific.
It's specific, yeah. Sounds like some family issues in this designer's family. Starting player, it says choose randomly.
Oh.
So maybe we could think of something creative or use Schwazi or something.
I don't know. I picked because I was a jester and that's the closest to this game. But we can use Schwazi. That's fine.
You can be the starting player. But yeah, this game is called a deck building game. And this is a mechanism since this game that has been used several times in a lot of other games and has evolved. But a lot of people still keep coming back to this game because it's really the simplest version of that and it's so clean. And the idea is you start with one hand of cards, like one deck of cards, and over the course of the game, you're going to be adding cards to your deck, and it'll be your deck alone that you'll keep cycling through. So the game starts with a deck that's really not that good. You have really small amounts of money, and you have some victory point cards. And the goal is to get as many victory points throughout the game as possible by adding those to your deck. So everything you buy in this game will be added to your deck and will let you do cool things, will let you buy additional cards, will let you draw additional cards, perform actions. So by the end, you will hopefully have some victory point cards in your deck to be able to score victory points. That's the main idea of the game, but why don't we go ahead and give it a try? How does that sound?
Yeah, we can give it a try. And I think you'll be happy to know that I had brought a different drink this time.
Oh, not a cider.
Well,
why did you didn't say? Yeah.
I went out of my way to expand.
Yeah, okay.
So today I have for you a ginger ale with gin and lemon.
Oh, interesting. Tell me the selection. How do you feel like it pairs with this game?
Oh, it had to pair with the game.
Yeah, it pairs with, this is what I had in my...
It pairs with, because I saw ginger ale, and within ginger ale is gin. Like gin, ale. And I was like, Dave and I is going to play a game tonight.
Yeah.
Why not? I don't know.
Yeah, that's okay.
I'll work on it.
Yeah, we'll work
on it.
But it sounds like the perfect drink to pair with Dominion.
Thanks.
I'm excited to share this to you. So why don't we go play and then we'll come back and see what we think.
All right, cool.
Wow. Wow, Julie.
I know. You want to say out loud what my score was?
The pain and misery that ensued from this. Wow, you did really good in that.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we just finished our game.
Our first game.
Julie,
yes.
You got a score of 81.
81.
And I got a score of 46. And I have so many follow-up questions.
Yeah,
but
of course.
I want to know, what are your overall first impressions of this game? Is it Monopoly with cards?
I feel like I'm on.
You definitely monopolize a lot of the points of the game.
So no, it's not Monopoly with cards. I take back my Monopoly.
But the idea is there. You're collecting money. You're buying estates.
I do.
Conceptually.
Yeah, I could see where I originally thought it was Monopoly.
Yeah.
But no, it's completely different, and it doesn't take hours to play. Sorry, I'm just laughing.
Yeah.
At the score stuff.
This took us, what, like 30 minutes?
Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say about 30 minutes. Yeah, because I didn't finish my drink yet, so.
I'm almost with mine, so I'm winning that competition.
Yeah, you're winning something. But I liked it. I liked it a lot. I liked that there are some cards. As you said, when we were talking about it, and you had said, oh, you played Yu-Gi-Oh! In Yu-Gi-Oh! There's defense cards, trap cards, attack cards, etc. And I did get the feel here, but it was a simplified way. So in Yu-Gi-Oh! You had to keep track of health points, and you both had to be in agreement. Like, they would say, oh, this takes away 50 health points, and you would have to know that. This game was more simplistic. It just was back and forth, and then the scoring was at the end. So I really enjoyed that, especially because it was a mystery to the other person how many cards you had. And I was kind of laughing because I had seen that you had taken a garden card, which I'll just read. It says worth 1 shield thingy. I don't know what the shield is.
Yeah, just points, victory points.
So worth 1 victory point for every 10 cards in your deck, rounded down. And I had saw you take one. And in my mind, I slightly laughed because I was watching you trash cards.
Yeah.
Like, voluntarily. And my strategy was to get the gardens and hoard as many cards as possible. And if I couldn't afford to buy anything because my hand was full of estates, I would take a copper still.
Yeah. That was... And you took all of the garden cards. I think I bought one. And I will say that in my past, whenever the garden cards come out, I usually lose that game because my strategy is normally to keep my deck as small as possible so the best cards come out. But that card rewards you for having a big deck, so it goes completely against. And I feel like for whatever reason, I just lose out on those because if you buy them all, that gives you a lot of points.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of points that you got just from... You had 7 of those, and your deck size was like...
It was huge.
Yeah. There's a lot of cards in that deck. Give you a lot of points. Like, you... Just from the garden cards alone, you said that was worth 45 points. And I got 46 points. So just in those cards alone, you already almost beat me without even considering the other victory point cards you bought.
Yeah. I know. I was excited because it looked like, in my eyes, I thought you were going to win because you took basically all of the province cards.
So, yeah, those were worth 6 points. So there's like 1, 3, and 6 point cards. Those are the highest.
Yeah. So I was like, great, I'm going to lose. But then the gardens came to play.
The gardens came to play.
The gardeners came to garden. And I won. Well, I really like the bandit card in specific because I feel like I think I realized your strategy from the beginning where you collected bigger coins and then trashed your smaller coins so that you could draw the bigger ones.
Yeah.
So you could get the silver and gold in the same hand to buy the province ones.
Yeah.
So I like the bandit because it was like a flaw in the system. You had to reveal the top 2, and if it was a gold or silver, you had to trash it.
Yeah, so my buying the gold, it was like slowing me down to the point where I kept buying gold, and then almost every other turn I was having to trash a gold because you kept playing that. So then I bought a lot of moats, which blocked that, but it became this whole back and forth of you playing bandits, me trying to play moats to prevent that from happening, and then trying to get money to be able to buy the points that I needed. Meanwhile, you went all in on the gardens and you won.
I know, you weren't even watching.
I wasn't.
I would take a bandit and then I would gain my gold, and then within my hand was 4, and then I would take the garden.
Oh, every single time. I was not watching. It's funny, so you mentioned Yu-Gi-Oh! And the health point system of, I don't know, the goal of that game is to get your opponent's health points down to 0.
Yeah.
So this game, there's no health points. How did you feel... How much did you have to watch what I was doing? Did you feel like there was a lot of interaction between us? Or could you just kind of do your own thing and not pay attention to what I was up to?
I feel like there's a little of both. I feel for individuals who prefer to do their own thing, they definitely can. This is a game where you could definitely just mind your business and do your own thing. But at the same time, if you're more of an aggressive player like I am, you can really watch the other player and buy the ones that attack, like action cards that attack them.
Yeah.
And then you could just continuously attack them. And then that kind of forces them to play with you and buy reaction cards or also defense cards in a way. With Yu-Gi-Oh! I like Yu-Gi-Oh! Just because of the pure nostalgia and like how the game's played. But if I had to choose between the two, like let's say I was introduced to Yu-Gi-Oh! And Dominion the same day. You said, hey, these are 2 games. And there's no background to it whatsoever other than here are the 2 games. I would pick Dominion because there's less thought process and it's more of a faster game. If I wanted to play for a long time, I would have to find a challenger that knew how to play.
Yeah.
B would have to find a challenger that knew how to play and had cards. Because it's like a mini version, not a mini version, it's maybe... I don't know how to explain it. The more nostalgic version of Magic. Because they had the whole TV show, Yu-Gi-Oh! And everything like that.
Yeah.
So I would have to find somebody who had their own cards, knew what the game was, understood how to use the cards, understood the placement. Well, this game you just need the box.
Yeah.
And you could bring it and say, hey, let's play Dominion. And then you could explain it right there and then. They don't have to bring cards. They don't have to bring absolutely anything. You just have to bring the box.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that anyone can play it.
Yeah, and there are a lot of expansions you can buy that they've released over the years that mix it up. I have never played with an expansion before, so I'd be curious to maybe try that sometime. But yeah, I love, like you said, it's like a simplified version of what you're explaining. You just need the box. You don't need to chase after all these packs and find somebody of your equal level who also has cards. You can just bring this, set it up, and get going and be done in like 30 minutes. So self-contained game in the box, which is awesome.
I like those. And when I played Yu-Gi-Oh, I always played with my cousins.
Yeah.
And they would get so mad because one of us would lose track of like health points or something like that.
Yeah.
And I would say, hey, you had 20 left. And they would say, no, I didn't. And it would be like a whole fight. Well, this one, the cards are literally in your deck.
Mm-hmm.
Like you built your deck, the other person's staring at your deck, and there's no way to diminish, you said that you had 20 health left. Like, here are my cards.
Yeah, exactly. And I do, going back to what we were saying about having to watch the other person, you said that you can kind of play your own game, but I also feel like in ways you can't, because I was kind of playing my own game, and that's how I didn't notice the cards that you were buying, and that's how you won. If I had been watching you grab those garden cards, I probably would have chased after those. So this game has been referred to by a lot of people over the years as multiplayer solitaire, where like we're all at the same table, we're all playing our own game, and then we just count up our points at the end to see who won. But I think there's more interaction than people give it credit for, just with some of these attack cards and just watching the other player's strategy and adapting to that so that you can win based off of the cards that are available in that game, which there's a lot of replayability, I think, even in the base box with, I don't know how many of these different market cards come out every time.
Yeah.
Or how many are in the box, I can't remember. But it'll be randomized every single time. So I love the idea that each game will be slightly different based on the cards that are available, where you'll have to sit down and maybe strategize which cards work well together and what your strategy will be to try to get as many victory points as possible in this game.
Yeah, I think you're really good at somehow collecting coins and trashing the ones.
Yeah.
The coppers, because I don't know why, but it's really hard for me to trash cards. In my mind, I'm like, if I trash this card...
Yeah.
Oh, probably because of Yu-Gi-Oh! It goes into the Shadow Realm.
Oh.
And then if it goes into the Shadow Realm, you can't get it back.
Yeah, well, this game you can get it back the next game.
Well, you can't get it back, sorry. You can't get it back if you have the Revival card.
Oh, okay.
But I just never was good at that. And I didn't have the Revival card. It's a rare card, so...
Yeah. So I have a question. So we've been playing a lot of Azul, and you've equated that game to chess in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Because you grew up playing chess, you have this strategic mindset when it comes to games, sitting down, mapping things out. How did this fit into your chess mindset, playing this game, as somebody who hasn't played a lot of modern board games?
I know. We're gonna get way later, like, down the road, where you and I have definitely played some games, so now I'll be able to compare it to other games.
Yeah.
But for this one, comparing it to chess was something that I did do so when the cards were set up in front of me, I had read what they did. So for the bandit, I read that you gained a gold, and then the player next to you or other players had to reveal the top two and then had to discard one. So I read each one, and then I mapped them together. And then so I already knew what cards I was going to pick in the beginning, and that's why my moves were quick. When my move wasn't quick, it's because I didn't anticipate that you would pick a certain card or get somewhere fast enough.
Yeah.
And that's when I paused and was like, I didn't think he was going to do that. So now I have to reevaluate. So anytime, I think I paused 2 or 3 times during that game.
Yeah, and it threw me off because normally by the time I'm finished shuffling, it's my turn again. That's how fast this game is. But when you were sitting there and I was like, oh, it's my turn, and you said, no, I'm still looking at my hand, that threw me off. I was wondering what exactly you had in mind.
Yeah, because I had to reevaluate. So in my mind, it was kind of like chess, because I still started the game off knowing exactly how I was going to start and finish it.
Yeah.
But then there were little things that I didn't calculate that you were going to do where I had to reevaluate.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember what any of those things were, like one example?
You got a bandit.
Oh, okay, because that was what you were going after at the beginning.
Yeah, and knowing you as a person, you're not aggressive or an attacker.
Yeah.
And so, in my mind, you stay away from the attacking. Like, even when you played Azul,
Yeah.
you felt the need to grab the bigger pot, basically, because it helped you. But at the same time, you chose that to help yourself instead of destroy me.
Right.
While I was like, that would help me, but it would destroy you.
Yeah.
So I allowed you to take the bigger pot, and I took the smaller one in Azul.
Yeah.
Even though the bigger pot would have gave me an upper leg. But,
yeah, you almost calculated out, this will give me 2 points, but that'll give you -6.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
In the end, that'll put me further ahead.
Yeah, so then when we played this game, I was under the assumption that you kind of would do the same. Like, maybe you would pick the gardens or the moat, but then you picked the bandit, and I just was like, interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, that was interesting to change up my strategy just a little bit away from being more just doing my own thing to going after you and seeing if I could cause you a little bit of pain.
I know.
In the process of winning.
It only worked once.
Yeah. So I know we've only played this game once, but just if you could give it a meeple score after one play, not even knowing what else is in the box, like everything this game has to offer, how would you rate this game?
I would rate this game up front, honestly, 5 meeples.
5?
Honestly, okay, so...
Wow, the perfect score that you said didn't exist.
Because there's attacks, there's defense, so they had thought of that. So instead of just a game where it's you could just attack somebody, no, you can also defend somebody, so that covers both ends.
Yeah.
It's a strategy where you could get points this way, but you can also get points another way if you're somebody who's bad at getting monetary cards like I am.
Yeah.
I could afford a garden card, so I could get points that way, and I could still be part of the game. And then there's a bunch of different action cards that do different things, so you could strategize how you want to do that. And you could basically choose, as you said, some people call this the solitaire game. You could be solitary, or you could be defensive, or you can be aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
So you could choose your playing style, and it matches everybody's playing style, so I feel like there's not really a flaw in this game.
Interesting. 5 out of 5.
Yeah, 5 out of 5 meeples.
That is awesome. So, big question. Would you like to do the 10 by 10 challenge of this, meaning we're looking to play 10 games at least 10 times? Would this be one of those games that you want to continue playing and exploring the depths of what Dominion can bring us?
It has to offer. Yeah, of course, because my high score right now, as it stands, is 81.
So we'll see after at least 10 plays. We'll try to play as many times and see if we can get to the point where one of us has won the game at least 2 times more than the other. Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, we had to do that for Azul because we were 50-50.
We played 16 rounds of that. And then we're still going back and playing and challenging each other. But I'm looking forward to crushing you next time. I'm not going to hold anything back.
Oh,
full
okay.
in.
Okay, try to get away with the beginner's luck.
Yeah, exactly. So, looking forward to that. So, we're going to play a lot of rounds of Dominion. Then we'll come back after that and talk about how our perception has changed, whether it's the same or whether we've grown to love it or there are things that we don't like about it.
Yeah.
And discuss that at a later point.
Right. Sounds good to me. And then cheers to the 10 by 10 challenge.
Cheers. Welcome back, Julie, from the 10 by 10 challenge of Dominion.
Yes.
Wow, we have played this game. And I'm excited to hear what your thoughts are after playing it several times.
Okay, well, first off, the first round that I played, clearly, I thought I was the master because I beat you by double your points. I had 81.
Because I was being nice to you.
Because you were being nice to me.
I was teaching you the game.
Gosh.
Letting you explore your strategies. I was playing non-aggressively.
No, you were like, what? You can
nice
win by getting all the gardens? That's what you said.
Yeah. So I let you do that, and then I came back and crushed you over the next several rounds.
I wouldn't say crushed, because we played 10, and I won 4 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I won 6.
Okay. I honestly think it would have been 5 out of 5, because the 9th game, I had lost by 3 points.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I lost because I didn't get a duchy.
Yeah. It was very, very close.
It was close. And then the final game...
Like, if you'd gotten one more card,
Mm-hmm.
each one of those garden cards would have been worth another point.
Yep. The last game I had 39.
Yeah.
I was one card away, so I would have demolished you, but instead I won by 1. It was tight.
That's so close.
I in the beginning...
Yeah.
I don't know why I was confused, but I was just confused on how to play personally because I don't think I played a game really like this.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to adjust to figure out how to play a game like this, and then...
How so? What do you mean?
There's not really rules. So there is rules, but the rules change each game because you pick a new 10 action cards.
Oh, like each card has its own rule.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you can get used to, let's say I won with the garden, like I did the first time I played. I just hoarded all the gardens,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how I won, because even if I couldn't buy anything, instead of passing on the buy, I would just take the... Is it silver? Or copper. I would take the copper card.
The one... the cards that were 1 gold.
Yeah, because they were worth 0, so...
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would do, just so I could stack my deck to be thicker, because I knew that I didn't understand how to work my way up to get 8 coins, I guess, to afford a province.
Yeah, and that is the challenge, is getting enough gold in one hand to be able to buy those,
Right.
those province cards.
And so I got used to the gardens right out the bat. And so the second round came, and you took the gardens away. And I was like, what are we doing?
I didn't take the gardens away. Fate took the gardens away.
Fate took the gardens away. Well, the randomizer you used took the gardens away.
Yeah.
But either way, the gardens got taken away, and I had to reevaluate my strategy, and then I lost. And then I continued losing until I gave up this wild fantasy that it had to be the gardens. So I just, instead of doing it that way, I looked at each of the new cards that were set out, and I read all of them and made a strategy that way. So as we got to the end of the 10 by 10,
Mm-hmm.
I started to understand the game.
Yeah, and you mentioned the fact that, I mean, the rules changed each game, meaning that the different cards that came out were different each time. Did you find that you enjoyed the challenge of each game being a little bit different, or do you prefer every game to be the exact same, where there's no variable setup?
No, I liked each game being ever so slightly different because it felt like a new game each time.
Yeah.
The principle was still the same. The whole 5 cards in your hand, put them in the discard pile. You want to get as many victory point cards as you can. And so that part's the same. It's just how to get to that end goal that changes. And that's what I like.
Yeah. The game is the exact same every single time, in the sense that the only thing that scores points are those green victory point cards or the garden cards, but nothing else matters. And that's the challenge I run into when I play this game, is I want to buy all these cool combos, these cards that let you do cool things. Like this card lets me draw a card, and then gives me 2 extra actions, and then I draw another card, and then this card gives me another buy, and then another coin to spend. And sometimes I get to the end of this long turn of chaining all these combos, and then I'm buying 1 card. I'm like, what was the point?
Yeah.
The only thing you're trying to do is buy those green cards that give you points. Mm-hmm. So it's, yes, trying to get those cool combos, but then buying those green cards that ultimately win you the game. So I am curious.
Yes.
Is there anything that you did not like about Dominion after playing it 10 times? Any negative points about the game?
Negative points about the game. I can't really think of any, to be honest, because, again, I like how the game changed each time, but the principle stayed the same, so you didn't have to reteach a new game, but it felt as if it was a new game.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. I can't think of anything.
Yeah, I'm the exact same way. I love that each time I sit down, we play a new game, and I do the randomizer to put out a new set of cards. And each time, I mean, there aren't that many cards in the base game, but each time it still feels a lot different with the combinations that come out. And so I just love that, of the new challenge every single time.
Yeah.
And I can only imagine, like, I've never played with any of the expansions before, but I imagine that it would be a lot of fun to mix in and see what kinds of new experiences this game can offer. Exactly, yeah.
I like how one of the rounds that you decided to challenge yourself and only buy the coins, like the gold, the silver, the copper.
Yeah.
And you had only purchased a moat and another card.
It was like just a couple of cards, yeah.
Yeah, and you won.
Yeah, I was...
Just with coins.
I was so curious.
I was not happy.
Yeah, and that's interesting that you can sit down and map out a whole strategy from the very beginning. My strategy, just because I was so many... I had won enough games where the whole idea was that I was going to try to beat you by 2 in this 10x10 challenge. And so I had enough games to spare. And I decided I'm not going to buy any of the action cards. I'm only going to buy coins and see if I can buy enough coins to buy enough victory point cards and just win that way without focusing on any of the action cards. And I did that.
Yeah,
and I won.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
I love how you defined it as I had enough to spare. You were just under the assumption that you were going to beat me no matter what. So you decided to test things. Well, guess what? I know how to play now. So
So this is just the beginning.
Yeah, this is just the beginning. Just finish the 10x10 because that's what we said that we would do. But You're going down.
You're going down. So we've played Azul a lot, which is a very strategic game, I think, with the tiles, and the game doesn't change that much game by game. How would you compare Dominion to Azul in your experience getting into this new board game hobby?
I liked both of them. I think they're both great games on their own. The comparison is more like a contrast type deal because they're completely different games.
Mm-hmm.
With Azul, if I wanted to, I could copy your moves. As weird as that sounds, but I could copy your board.
Yeah.
While in Dominion, it's very seldom or next to impossible to copy your moves because I would have to somehow shuffle the cards exactly the same way you shuffled your discard pile to then be able to draw exactly the same cards you drew so that I could mimic your moves.
It's true. Yeah, no two moves could ever be the same because you have to draw the right cards to be able to buy the right thing and then shuffle it in the right way.
Yeah, exactly. And that makes them different, of course. The counting makes them different. You can win in Azul by somehow either giving the other person tiles that they don't need and setting them back to 0 by making them have negative points continuously. While Domain, it's difficult to do that because they can only have so many curses. I think it was 10 with 2 players.
Yeah, the number of curses changes depending on the player count. 10 for a 2-player game.
Yeah, so you could only get minus 10 points, while with Azul, let's say I continuously choose tiles that you already have and I continuously choose tiles that you need and give you the tiles that you already have, causing you to have negative points. So you could have over negative 10 points by the end of the game.
Yeah.
Like you can continuously, like each round, get negative points.
I think that is a big difference between Dominion and Azul for an entry-level game, in my opinion. Azul is easy to be able to look at the board and tell where your opponent is at. Mm-hmm. Like how much of their board they filled in, how many points they have.
How you can attack them.
Exactly, and how close you are. With Dominion, it's kind of obscured with these victory point cards that get hidden in your deck. You can look at the victory point piles and see how many of them are gone, but I remember there were several games of this you and I were playing, and we both said, I think this is going to be close. I can't tell who's going to be winning. Yeah. Whereas in Azul, you always know exactly how many points you have. There's no guessing or anything like that. So I kind of like the mystery of not knowing until the very end, and then we pull out all of the victory point cards and count them up. Mm-hmm. That's kind of exciting. But I think if I were to teach a game to somebody who hasn't played many games, Azul would probably be a game that I would pick over Dominion. But if I'm going to play a game a lot of times in a row, like I am with you, I think Dominion might edge Azul out for me in terms of each game playing different and the replayability. Yeah, and Dominion, I didn't not like Dominion when you originally showed me. Yeah. I just didn't enjoy it as much until I completely understood it, and now that I understand it, I like it a lot. When we played the first
3 rounds, first 4 rounds, I would say, I was ever so slightly irritated because I was trying to figure out what you were doing.
Yeah.
And it took me a little bit to process sometimes because I would get the witch and I would just send multiple curses your way. And then you still won. I was like, well, then how? What do I do? And it's kind of a hold steady to get your province, duchy, and whatever that smaller house was.
Estate.
Mm-hmm. And sure, you can attack the other player, but focus on building your domain.
Yeah, and I do like that you can play the game a couple of different styles. You can play very aggressive and try to attack the other player. But there are games that you got all those attack cards. I didn't even buy a single one, and I still won.
Yeah.
So,
that was the coin game, too, when you got all treasuries?
The treasure cards.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas Azul, I can't quite tell. I think that if you play very aggressively and just go after the other person, they might lose.
Yeah.
I don't know whether or not it's possible to completely ignore the other person. But in Dominion, I feel like I could just do my own thing and not really... Like, if you're attacking me, I can still just do my own strategy and follow that to the end and not have to pivot that much, except for buying some of those moat cards that defend me if you're going too aggressively.
Yeah, if the moat card's available when you randomly choose them.
Yeah.
But for Azul, there was that one game that we had played where you literally lost by 5 points, and it was because you got -5 points.
Yeah, because you gave me the wrong ones to drop to my floor.
I gave you the blues.
Yeah, when you could have held them in your storage, but you chose to take the other color so that I would take the one that I didn't need.
and that to win, okay.
That to me, like, I mean, if I'm looking at games that are of this level, I don't, like, if you were to pick Dominion versus Azul that we've played so far, which one would you pick over the other?
It's a hard choice. If you said you want to play Dominion, I'd say yeah. If you said, do you want to play Azul, I said yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think they're really comparable in a sense of which would you rather have, you know?
Yeah.
I think they're both standalone entities.
And in the beginning, after one play, you rated Dominion a 5 meeple out of 5, which is an excellent, perfect score.
Yes.
How does your score hold up after playing it 10 times?
I still think it's 5. Each time was different.
Yeah.
Each time was exhilarating. Like, it was who's gonna win? And the 9th time, that's when you had won by 3. And I was all... I was gonna get him, and then so that 10th time when I won by 1, I was like, yes!
So exciting. So I don't know that I rated it after our first play.
No, you didn't.
This is going to be, I think it's going to be a 5 meeple out of 5 for me, which is not very common. Like you, I don't know that many games deserve the perfect score. But Dominion is one of those because it's so quick. It's so easy to get into. There's so much replayability just in the base box.
Yeah.
I've never played any of the expansions, and I still love the game. I love that there's so many different strategies you can approach every single time you play. So, yeah, for me, it's 5 out of 5. It's great. So, thank you so much for taking this Dominion journey with me. I plan to continue coming back to this. But my big question for you is, do we keep this to play or do we trade it away?
Oh, we keep it to play.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we keep it to play.
That's awesome.
It is awesome. And thank you so much for showing me how to play so far all of these games, Dave.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Julie, and thank you for listening. That is all for this time. We would love to hear from you. If you'd like to reach out to us, you can find us at thedicejesters@gmail.com or on Instagram at dicejesters. Be sure to join us next time for our next in-depth look at a game. Until then, play all the games with the ones you love.